Hello and welcome to Guns and Gear. You know, I just watched a video from NeverEnuffAmmo talking about a 9-year-old girl who fatally shot a firearms instructor at a range. And it's a horrible incident. I wanted to speak a little bit about it, and along with that, talk about children and firearms in general. Maybe share a little bit with you the way that I was raised and the way that I've introduced firearms to children, and I'm going to pretty much leave it at that. I'm really not going to throw too many rocks at people over this specific situation. I went and Googled it and saw quite a few reports about it from different news agencies. So it would appear that a New Jersey family was in Arizona. They were at a range, and their little girl, a 9-year-old girl, was going to shoot a fully automatic Uzi, and there is some video clips of that right up to the fatal incident. But at any rate, that fully automatic submachine gun got away from that little girl, and she ended up shooting the instructor that was helping her, and he died from the injuries. Now, as I was reading some of these articles that were already on the internet, I saw a lot of people blaming the parents, people blaming the range. People had all kinds of things to say, anti-gun and pro-gun. I really don't want to get into a you should have done this, you should have done that. But here's what I will say. I don't know that I could put too much blame on on the family here from New Jersey that was in Arizona. I don't know how much firearm experience that they have. Excuse me, that's my puppy. He's walking around with a piece of firewood. Anyway, they could have been very experienced with firearms. They may not have had any. I don't know, and so I don't want to say anything about that. As far as the range goes, you know, I think making sure that there's a child that is supervised is very important. What the range cannot know is the experience level of the child. Now, at 9 years old, there's only so much that the child, so much experience that the child can possibly have with firearms, much less a fully automatic firearm. The instructor. Unfortunately, the instructor quite possibly died because of his lack of experience as well. I don't know. I haven't seen anything written or said about this man other than I think he was a veteran, and he was a very well-liked individual, and he might not have seen anything wrong with what he was doing. Now, before people start throwing in their 2 cents, we got to remember that this was a tragic occurrence. Let's be kind when talking about either the family, the New Jersey family, that little 9-year-old girl, or the deceased instructor. I grew up with firearms. My father was a competitive shooter, and he had me starting out with firearms and shooting sports at a very, very young age. The way my dad kind of introduced me to guns was with toys. Now, I had my little toy guns that I ran around and played with, but he had given me this double barrel, break up and cocked it. It was a pop gun. Had 2 pieces of cork with string, and my father gave me that, but it wasn't as a toy. He kept it in the gun case with his firearms. When he took his guns out to clean them or what have you, he would always sit me there with him, and I had my little pop gun, and I would clean my little pop gun and then put it back into the case. When I went on my first hunting trips with my father at a very young age, 5, 6, 7 years old, it was with that pop gun. Okay. He was teaching me how to be still, how to be patient, how to keep a firearm pointed in a safe direction when you're carrying it, and when you're placed in a stand or maybe a hedgerow or whatever the case may be. So he taught me hunting safety and firearm safety with that toy. Now also at a young age, my father bought me a 22. It was a single shot bolt action rifle. Here's a 22 single shot bolt action rifle. This is a MAS or MAS Model 45. It is a training rifle for the French military. It is a bolt action 22, but this is a repeater. This uses a magazine. The firearm that I had was a single shot 22, and he had cut 2 pieces off of the back of the gun, off of the stock. So as I grew, he could add those pieces on, and that was my first real gun. Now I don't have that firearm. My father ended up trading that to another gentleman that was looking to do the same thing with his son, and had bought me something else. But the gun, and I have somewhere some pictures of me and my father, he would hold this firearm for me, and basically all I did was line up the sights and pull the trigger. My father was actually behind me or on the side of me holding the firearm for me. And that's how I learned to shoot. As I got a little bit older, he bought me a single barrel shotgun. Similar to this shotgun here, this is a Harrison Richardson single shot, 12 gauge shotgun. But the one he bought me, of course, was a 410. And those were my first 2 firearms. And that's what I learned to shoot with. And talking to my dad years later, Dad told me that, you know, he wanted to teach me the value of taking a proper aim and making a proper shot. That's why he insisted on a single shot. And it was also for safety. That I just couldn't keep shooting the gun and create some sort of an unsafe situation because I was a child. And even though I probably had a lot more exposure to firearms than most people, he still thought it was prudent. Got a plane. And he thought it was prudent not to let me have something. Now, as far as handguns go, the first handgun that I ever shot was something very similar to this. This is a Smith & Wesson Model 66 357 Magnum. My father had a Model 19, which is a blued version of this very gun, and he hand loaded. It has some very light target loads that I learned to shoot a handgun with. And when I was very young, again, he would hold the firearm for me, and I would line up the sights and pull the trigger when he instructed me that I could. And later on, he found a really cheap 22 single action gun that he continued to teach me to shoot with. And that's kind of how I was brought up. Now, I have used that same theory in teaching others, including adults, how to shoot. You know, one shot at a time, starting them out with 22, starting them out with something with very low recoil or no recoil at all. If they are unable to hold the weapon for them. Show them where the stock should be on their shoulder. Show them what that good sight picture should look like, and then, you know, brace them as they learn to shoot. This is a semi-automatic Uzi 9mm. Now, I bought this just before the first assault weapons ban in 1994. The Clinton assault weapons ban is what I should call it. That's what most people would recognize. I believe the magazine capacity is 32 rounds. I may be off a little bit, but I can't think of a scenario where a 9-year-old child, girl or boy, experienced or not, should be shooting a fully automatic weapon of this nature. It's not something that I would do. So for folks who have asked me, how should I get started in shooting, things of that nature, well, you find a good instructor and you start taking some beginning classes. Many ranges offer that. Take advantage of it. Go slow. As my father used to always say, boy, you crawled for a long time before you walked. And that's something to remember. And in the world of shooting, safety is paramount. And we need to learn to crawl before we walk. All right, folks, that's about all I wanted to say about that. Thank you for watching. And remember to shoot straight on the range and in life. Thanks.